Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. I'm day 13. Hopefully y'all are on here. Because I've been having issues with this. I am on. Tap in, tap in, tap in. Okay, let me pull it up on my phone. Okay, I think I'm on. Hey y'all, it is day 13. As y'all already know, I haven't been that consistent and staying with 21 days, but guess what? I'm gonna do 21 days, but it's gonna take more than 21 days. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm so excited for tonight's special. As you can see, I plan to show you all what $30 a month can look like for $1 million baby plan for you, for your children or your child. Now, keep in mind, I have three different vehicles up here, right? So the first vehicle that I'm going to show you all is the $30 a month. This is the Toyota car, right? It gets you to where you need to go. It builds that cash value. It's reliable. It's not as flashy, but it gets you to where you need to go, and it's long lasting. And then I'm also going to show you the Mercedes, right, of the $1 million baby plan. So when we talk about the Mercedes, that's more than, the Toyota, excuse me. But again, it's like the luxury version of the $1 million baby plan. And then I'm going to show you the Rolls Royce, right? The Rolls Royce of the $1 million baby plans and what that looks like based on your budget. But first, I said I got somebody tapping in. Hey, I am going over the $1 million baby plans. If you have a daughter, a son, a niece, nephew, godchild, you can get covered for $30 a month. Even yourself, now depending on your age and your health now, don't quote me, depending on your age and your health. If you want some for $30, we have to see what it's going to do and what it can get you. But for these children, we can definitely get you all $1 million baby plan. So I am going to be sharing, again, 3 type of cars. We got the Toyota, we got the Benz, and we got the Rolls Royce of $1 million baby plans, right? Because there are, like I mentioned on my last live, there are different type of $1 million baby plans based upon your budget. And so I would love to come on here tonight just to show you all some visuals of actually what that looks like. Let me see here. I need to move my screen so you all can have a better view of these $1 million baby plans. I am so excited to share with you all on what these look like. Now, as I mentioned before, this particular plan is based off of 5-year-old. So plan is going to look different depending on, again, the age, location, everything like that. And so what I'll do further notice, I'm pretty excited about tonight, guys. Let's give a big drum roll. Yes, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. I am going over the $1 million baby plan, and I'm going to show you all 3 different products on 3 different levels of the $1 million baby plan. As I said, keep in mind, this is based off of a 4-year-old. I think I said 5, but a 4-year-old policy. So if you are still early, this is what that policy can look like. I should have had some options up for you all to see like what it would look like at different ages. But if you want to see what it look like at different ages, go ahead and send me a DM, $1 million baby, and we can go ahead and get started. So let me share my screen. Let's see here. Bam. Okay. So I am sharing my screen. I want to make sure that this is large enough so you all can see on your mobile device, because I am on my computer. So of course it's going to look big to me. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay. I think that's pretty good right here. Okay. So again, as I mentioned, this policy is prepared for the $1 million baby live tonight. This is based off a 4-year-old. Of course, 4-year-olds don't smoke tobacco, so of course they wouldn't have that there, right? And then here, as we are reviewing, we have, so I have this particular Toyota plan set at increasing. So increasing just means the death benefits value over time. So starting out with this policy, the face amount would be $111,112 for this policy. And of course, we have riders here. This is like the critical, terminal, chronic, as I spoke about before, but I don't want to dive in too much in that. These are just additional benefits that come with the policy. So now, as I mentioned, this policy is $30 a month. This is what an increasing policy looks like, meaning the death benefit increases over time. So starting out, the death benefit would be $111,000. And so God forbid, if something happened to your child tomorrow, that would be the payout of $111,000. And so now I am going to, I'm going to have to decrease this just a little bit. Okay. Hopefully y'all can still see that. So basically, this is how this policy looks. So with $30 a month, starting out, for the first year, we're going to look at this non-guaranteed option, right? So non-guaranteed option, meaning this is the potential that your account can grow based off of course, the stock market. But with these policies, we are not fully vested. We kind of watch the stock market. I don't want to dive into too deep into that, because then that's just a whole nother topic, whole nother conversation. If you want more on how your money is protected, because with these type of plans, you don't lose money at all. Your money only grows. You don't have any market loss, which is great. And so, as I mentioned, if you had a 5-year-old, right, we will start the policy at $111,000. The account value, as you can see, is $151. So this is basically saying, hey, if I needed to dive into this policy after the first year, I would only have $151 to go ahead and invest or withdraw, basically borrow from. You will see here $0 surrender value. When we talk about surrender values, this is the amount that the insurance company will pay you to end your policy, right? So, of course, as you can see, in the first couple of years, it's not really much. But as you can see, once your child turns 18, as we can see right here on this line, once your child turns 18, you will have an account value of $3,711. The surrender value, if you say, hey, I don't want the policy anymore, could cash you out at $3,600. And the death benefit, if something happened to your child, would be at $114,823. Now, a lot of you might say, hey, $3,700 isn't a lot, right? You might say that, hey, I don't think $3,700 is really a lot to have saved over X amount of time. But I mean, how much money did your parents have saved when you turned 18? Just keeping it real. No shade, baby, because my mom didn't have $3,700 for me when I graduated high school and turned 18. And so again, these policies are based upon your budget, and this is also just one carrier. I have multiple carriers, but I'm not going to be biased. This is kind of one of my favorite ones and one that I use the most. But again, at the age of 18, that policy would have $3,275 worth. And so again, with $3,275 at 18, if you needed to borrow money from that could cover your child graduation's cost. Depending on, how extravagant you want to go for prom, that could cover prom costs. I think when I graduated high school, I think my prom dress was probably like $300 maybe at the most. And then my auntie did my hair and I had got my nails and stuff done. So for me, that would have covered that. Graduation, captain gown, a nice little dinner, that would had actually covered me, enough. Now look at this. Now this is what I really like. So the way I had this policy set up is that, of course, so if this was for my child, of course, I would be paying for the policy because I am the policy owner. And so it's not saying, hey, that $3,711 goes to your child. The money goes to the policy owner, and then you distribute it how you feel necessary. And on top of that, guess what? I only have this policy being paid into for 30 years. So once my daughter turns 34, and in 30 years, I will be 63, I could stop paying into this policy and my child would be covered until they are going to have their milk with honey with God, right? And so at the age of 34, again, the policy value would be worth or have an account value of $17,427. Now, again, at 34, you may feel like, okay, well, that's still not an extreme huge amount, but you also have to remember that if you keep it at that $30 a month, this is typically how the cash value builds over time. Now, it can increase, again, depending on where we are when it comes to investing, but it will never decrease because how the funds are invested, you never lose money. You don't have a market loss. And a good thing about this is it's a win-win situation because one, you are having your child protected, and two, the money that you are using to protect your child is actually building cash value. And as you can see, the death benefit would be $128,000 if you wanted to surrender the policy and you say, you know what, my child grown, I'm not going to worry about them. Run me my money. You will get the $17,427. Now, if we continue to scroll down, scroll, by the time the child turns 65 at that point, the child would have, again, a net benefit of $244,000. And of course, you would have the cash value of $133,000. Now, again, increasing means the face amount of the policy increases over time. And as you can see here in this left column, actually, I can scroll back up. so you can see after the age of 34 and you've paid into the policy for 10 years at $30 a month, you've only paid $10,800. Out of $10,000 that you paid into this policy, you have a cash value of $17,000. That's basically a $7,000 difference, which I mean is huge because again, it's a 2-for-1. You have again a policy that is protecting your child and it is growing cash value. And so after the 30 years of you paying into the policy, again, you pay $10,000 in 30 years. That is quite not expensive, right? And so with that being said, as you can see here, from year 31, from when the child turns 35, you will see zeros because at that point there is no need to pay into the policy anymore. Now we can adjust that again, but this is how I have this policy set up. And as you can see, this policy is covered until the child is 120 years old. So if your child lived to be, I'm gonna say 100 because I want to live to be 100. So if your child lives to be 100 years old, that policy amount will have an account value of $1.1 million and a surrender value of $1.1 million. That is a lot of money. Now you might say, okay, $100, that is, 100 years old, that takes time. But again, this is for technically the child, so you can start creating that old new money. I see Maisha said, what if someone starts later in life or the child and they are older than the age of 2 to 5? Now, that's a good question, Maisha. So with the child being older, again, the numbers will change, especially when it comes to the initial premium. So when we create these policies for you all, we can either base it off of the premium, the initial premium of what you will want to pay each month. Now, if you do have, just say, an older child that is between the ages of like 7 and 10 or even a little older, we can still get them at $30 a month based off what you can afford, but that face amount would be probably much lower. So at that point, it's probably going to drop down to about $50,000, probably at the least $50,000 to get covered for $30 a month. And so then at that point, these numbers that I'm speaking on with this original plan for this Toyota would be cut down in half. And so just say if you had a child that was maybe 8 years old, I would probably say this 100,000 probably would be cut to 50,000, and then the account values probably would be sliced in half based on $30 a month. Maisha also said, is that an option to start later if they are older? Yes, you can obtain insurance at any age. So you don't want to make it seem like, or I don't want to make it seem like if you don't get it early, then you missed out. The thing about getting it earlier is the initial premium, which is the monthly that you would pay, is much cheaper. And so if I was to get this policy for my child at maybe 15 or 18 years old and wanted to pay $30, one, it's a possibility that I could pay $30 or maybe a little more than $30, but also again, that face amount would be less. So if I waited till my child was probably like 18 or 19, actually, I'm glad you asked that because I did have a client whose child was about in their early 20s. I'd probably say no older than about maybe 22, 23. And we curated one of these policies for her. And I think the policy was around maybe $47 a month. And then the face amount was $50,000, increasing again over time. But the cash value, of course, once you're in your 20s, if you wanted to grow as fast, then you would have to have a higher premium for that said plan. Now, again, this is the Toyota version of the $1 Million Baby Plan set at $30 a month. Again, if your child is older and you are still looking to have something set within $30 a month, then that face amount would probably be lower. I'm thinking about $50,000. But if you want to see personalized, curated $1 Million Baby plans for you and your family, go ahead and send me a DM of $1 Million Baby, and I can get you on the schedule and I can show you these illustrations specifically for your children, their age as well. Now, moving on, because I've been on here for almost 20 minutes. So moving on, I am going to show you, I would say, the Lexus, right? This is the luxury of what the $1 Million Baby Plan can look like. And so with this one, this is the same age. The child is 4 years old. The initial premium, as you can see here, is about $105 higher than the first one that I showed. So that's $135 a month, but also the face amount is $500,000. So when you have this face amount, again, of $500,000, that's pretty good to start off with. You still get all the additional features as well on this type of policy. And so let me scroll up a little. Bam. Okay. So again, starting at initial premium of $135 a month. With this one, the face amount is $500,000. Now, as you can see, at 5 years old, after the first year, that account value is $1,060. Now, if you remember with the original plan that I reviewed of the $30 a month, you will see that the account value was $151. So from that right there, you can kind of see exactly, how it fluctuates with, again, how much you pay in premium. Now, this is for a 4-year-old. So again, we can base policies off of your budget amount. So once we go ahead and curate those for your child, their age, and their state, you will be able to see, say, if you wanted to put maybe $40 up, we can see what that looks like and how that grows. Now, moving back over to the Lexus of the $1 Million Baby policy here. As I mentioned before, after 1 year, the account value is $1,060. And so if we scroll down and we say, hey, when my child turns 18, guess what? This account value will be worth $25,000. So just imagine if you had, again, a younger child, and after 14 years of paying into this policy, you have an account value of $25,000. Now, if you have older children, which a lot of my friends and family do, if you have older children, you can still get them covered and still have these cash values look the same, but again, the premium will be different. So for this child, the premium is set at $135. And this is monthly. And so at the age of 18, you would have $25,000. And so with that $25,000 that you have sitting in that cash value, you would be able to withdraw or basically borrow the money. And once you borrow it, again, that could go towards your child high school, graduation, prom, if they're going off to college. Of course, we have, when your kids go off to college, they need toiletries, they need clothes. It's basically like they're moving into their own apartment. That $25,000 could cover that. Or you can also say, you know what, kudos to me, my kids graduated high school, I'm going to the Bahamas. I'm going overseas. I'm going on a trip. So I'm going to spend that money on a trip. Same thing. And so again, with that being at $25,000 at the age of 18, that is a great amount. Now, I also have this policy set up too, to where you will stop paying into the policy after, I think I still have this one, after 30 years. Yes. So after 30 years of paying into this policy, you would have paid a total of $48,600. But guess what? The cash value of this policy would be $117,000. So basically, you have doubled your money. Now, again, you could take that $117,000 and say, you know what, I want to surrender this policy. I don't want it anymore. You would have the $117,000, not including if there were any fees, of course, to take out, and it would be taxed as well if you just choose to withdraw the money or basically just take the money without actually borrowing it, right? So that's how we keep it tax free, because we are borrowing from the money. And as you can see here, the cash value, or no, the death benefit would be $617,000. So God forbid, if your child passed away at 34, you would receive $617,000 $100,000. The same as if your child was 18. So let's see here. Once your child turns 18, that policy would be worth $525,000. That's $500,000 right there. So God forbid something happened to your child when they turn 18. But just think about all of those stories that we see down our timeline. I feel like I've been seeing these stories probably for like maybe like the last 3 to 4 years, where children are passing away at prom or at graduation or during that time from a car accident, and then things just happening, out of their control. I've seen at least about maybe 3 or 4 different stories within this year about someone's child passing away during prom or during graduation season. And so, granted, that would break your soul, your child just graduating. It was another article out there about a father and son who died at the graduation, right? And so that something like that is devastating. But in terms, again, with having these policies set in place, you would have that time to grieve and actually, process exactly what is happening. And at the age of 18, that policy would be worth $525,000. That's not $500,000. That's creating old new money right there. And again, once we process on these net death benefits, that's tax-free money right there. That's all of this in the net death benefit is tax-free money. And we have this set up as an increasing policy, and so it increases over time. Again, as you can see, someone starting at 5 years old is $500,000. By the time, again, they are 18, it's $525,000. So the net death benefit would have grown about $24,000 over time. Thank you all for tuning in. If you all want to see more policies like this, something curated for your children specifically, or even for you, go ahead and slide in my DM. I'll send you my link so we can go ahead and create or generate an appointment for you. And I will literally go through this the same way, just so you can see exactly how these plans are curated for you, your budget, and your age. Now that we have went over the Toyota and the Benz of the $1 Million Baby plans, now we're going to show you what the Rolls Royce of the $1 Million Baby plans looks like, right? So looking at this, let me share my next screen. Again, same age, 4 years old. I should have did a different age, but you know what? When I come back tomorrow, I'm gonna show you. If y'all drop in the chat what age y'all child is, and y'all want to see this live tomorrow, I do a live tomorrow based on your child's age. So going back to this is again a $1 Million Baby plan for a 4-year-old, and as we can see here, the face amount is $1 million. We still have the death benefit option as increasing, which means that the policy increase over time. But this initial premium is $270 a month. So this is more than a Toyota and a Lexus, right? We're in a Rolls Royce. If you want to drive a Rolls Royce, of course you put in premium gas, and you're gonna treat that different than you treat your Toyota, right? That's not the everyday car, right? This is the weekend car. And so if you had a child, again, 4 years old, at the age of 1 year of investing into the policy, it's already have an account value of $2,229. So as you can see, just based off of these policies that I've curated, the premiums definitely make a difference, because the more you pay into the premium, the higher the account value will be and can grow over time. And so again, this is at 5 years old. By the time this child turns 18 years old and you've paid into the policy for 14 years, this account value would be $53,000. And you got to win for win, because one, you have your child protected, and two, you have a policy that is growing money for you and your child to create that old new money. I'm going to keep saying that, old new money. We are the old new money. If you are looking to build generational wealth for your children and their children, we are the old new money. And so this is how you get to the old new money. And again, at the age of 18, paying into this policy, again, it's $53,000. $53,000, depending on what school your child may go to, you can cover half the tuition. You can cover them, get in a car. You can get a Rolls Royce plan and then buy them a Toyota right for graduation. Now they got a now they got a brand new car right for graduating high school. You have enough money to put up for graduation, to invest into the prom, even take yourself out, even invest. That's $53,000 that you can use to invest. And granted, it's saving over time. But the difference between saving a regular savings account plan versus putting into $1 million baby plan is not accessible. It's not easily accessible. You don't have that liquidity as if you were saving $3,200 a month, or I'm sorry, $3,200 a year into a savings account where you say, you know what, I need to move some money. So let me move that from here to here. When you have the $1 million baby plan, of course, it's the process. You got to put in the order for you to borrow from the plan. It has to process through the bank. It has to get cleared. It has to get approved. So the liquidity is not as fast as a savings account, but also your savings account isn't growing interest. I mean, it's growing interest, but it's growing pennies on a dollar. If you put money into your savings account right now, over a year, you're probably going to get what, $10, $11, if that, depending on how much money that you have into your bank account. So again, after 18 or after investing into this policy for 14 years, you have a cash value of $53,494. And then also you can see here, you've already started off with a face amount of $1 million. You've already started with a face amount. So God forbid something happens to your child, you automatically get $1 million. Just off of that, you've already created generational wealth. God forbid something happens to your children, but if something does happen to your child, you want to be able to be covered. Just like one of the, I forgot, it was the incident that happened. It wasn't local, but somebody's child had ran into the street and got hit by a car. They passed away. Hopefully the parent did have $1 million baby plan, because if so, the child wasn't no older than 10. So if you would have had $1 million baby plan, guess what? You automatically get this $1 million, right? And then just looking also at this policy, again, I have this policy set up to where you stop paying into it after 30 years. Now, once you set up your own appointment with us and we figure out, of course, your budget, what it looks like, we can set it up to where you stop paying into the policy after so many years, and we can see how it grows, and we can also see how long that it also would cover up to. So after paying into this policy for 30 years, you would have paid $97,200. But guess what? You have a cash value of $245,000. That's double your money that you have, that you would have invested after 30 years. Can you sit here and say that in 30 years, that you can save $245,000 without having $1 million baby plan? Because you're using one premium payment to go ahead, and it's working for you both ways. It's protecting you and it's building cash value. That's one plan doing two things. Versus, again, you may be able to put up the money to the side. You may not be able to. And again, you would be the policy owner anytime that you have a policy for someone else that you are paying for. You are the policy owner, so the net death benefit will go to you, and you will be able to borrow from the cash value as well. And so, again, like I said, $53,000 at the age of 18. Maybe your child, you want to wait and see, let them live life, and you might want to give them money at 30. At 30 years old, you have a cash value of $161,000. You even have a surrender value at $161,000. And as I mentioned before, that surrender value is how much the insurance company will pay you to close out your policy. You might say, why are they paying me to not have a policy anymore? Because it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be cheaper. They will say, hey, look, you had $161,000. You want to go ahead and cash out? Yeah, you could cash out, because then if something happened to your child at the age of 29, I'm looking here. If something happened to your child at the age of 29, they have to pay you $1 million. 1.1 million at that. They have to pay you $1 million. So they would rather pay you $161,000 to cash it out versus to keep it. And then God forbid something happens to your child while you're still alive, and now you got $1 million. Now you really just built old new money. And then I also have this policy set up as well to where you stop paying into it after 30 years. And then after 30 years, you would have spent $97,200 over 37 years, and then you will still have an account value of $245,000. And then you can set this up in a will, you can set it up in a trust, because of course, if something happened to you and you passed away, you can put this into a trust, and then you can distribute how the money is passed down from generation to generation. So you can have that set up in a trust. Now, I don't do trust, so you would have to get you a trust attorney, trust and estate attorney to do that. But holler at me in a couple years and I'll be the attorney. But as of right now, again, you can put these policies into a trust, and so if something happened to you, then it will still get distributed in a certain way, right? Because you are the policy owner and you own this kind of would be like an asset for you. And then as you can see, once your child turns 35, they got an account value of $263,000 after 31 years. And in 31 years, I would be 25? I wish I would be 25, but after 31 years, I'll be in my 60s. If I wanted to retire in 31 years, I would have an account value of $263,000. I could use that, go on vacation. I could use that and start investing if I wanted to. I can use it for whatever. You can use the $1 Million Baby Plan for whatever. And that is what sets the $1 Million Baby Plan apart from the 529 savings plan that I talked about a couple of weeks ago on my live. Because when you have the 529 plan, yes, you are investing into the education, but there is a penalty if you don't use that money for education. Versus you have the $1 Million Baby Plan, you can use it for really whatever. And that is it. Y'all, I've been on here for about 40 minutes. Y'all know my lives be about 20 minutes long. I don't even do this long. But again, this is what the difference looks like from a Toyota plan, from a Mercedes plan to a Rolls Royce plan. And again, these premiums here can all be adjusted based on your budget, your child's age, and if they have any health issues. If you guys have any questions, again, I think I am going to do this again tomorrow, but I'm probably going to show an older child. I might do 10, 12. If you are catching a replay and you want to see exactly what it looks like for your child's age, go ahead and drop your child age in the chat. And then I'll go ahead and cure up a plan, and then I'll put it on live tomorrow as well. So thank you all for tuning in. Y'all was tapped in tonight. I really appreciate y'all for joining me on this Wednesday evening. I hope you all have a great, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. And I will see you all tomorrow. If you feel that this was beneficial to you all, or it might be beneficial to anyone, go ahead and go ahead and share. If you are catching a replay, go ahead and catch the replay. If you are interested to see how these plans can work for you in your family, go ahead and slide in my DM, put $1 Million Baby Plan. I can go ahead and curate you a plan. Typically, this is how my financial need analysis appointments go. So when you set up an appointment with me, I do have prerequisite questions that I will ask before we get on a call. So I'm not just gathering all of this information while we're on the call, but I will have questions already set up in place that you can answer before we meet for your appointment. And then once I set up your appointment, I'll just show you illustrations. I have about maybe 2 to 3 different illustrations, depending on how many family members you are trying to get covered. I'll let you see those, and then we can go ahead and proceed with the policy from there. If you all are wondering typically what that looks like, once you are actually ready to proceed with the policy, we will sit down again at the appointment, and I will gather all information and data that needs to go to the carrier so we can go ahead and process those $1 Million Baby Plans as soon as possible so you all can get covered. Now, I do also offer $1 Million Baby Plans or I would say plans that you can get for $30 a month where you can get those instant approvals. But that is with a different carrier. And I didn't show that. I wanted to show you all what that $1 million baby plan looks like from a Toyota standpoint, from a Benz standpoint, from a Rolls Royce standpoint. And again, if you all are catching a live or a replay, go ahead and put a replay in the chat. If you want to see your child's age on my live tomorrow, because I'm probably going to do one tomorrow for maybe about, I don't know. I might have different ages. I might show you a 14-year-old. I might show you a 10, 14, and 18-year-old. But I might change the whole topic. I don't know. Y'all got to let me know in the chat. Let me know what y'all want to do. Again, thank you all for joining. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Great week. Stay safe. Drink your water. Stay hydrated. Keep them lips moist, and y'all have a good night. Thank you all for joining. Again, go ahead and like this live, share it, watch it, skip through it, skip through play, again, skip through it. Go ahead, engage with me. Again, thank you all for joining me on this 21-day live challenge that has not been 21 days straight, but I am gonna do 21 days of it. Okay. Thank you all, and have a great night.